Hi, and welcome to Gamer Chat for the week of January 9th, 2012. We're in the new year, and we're going to be taking a look back at the past year. It was a great year in gaming, some disappointments, some good things that came out of this year, um, but as a whole, it was a good year. We're going to go through, talk about our individual top five games of the year and our biggest disappointment of the game industry. Um, Skirts Killmeister, we're going to start with you first.
Okay, well, my top five are starting with number one, it's Skyrim. Two would be Arkham City. Three is Portal 2. Four would be Halo Anniversary. And five is Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Pretty much Skyrim I'm just addicted to. I've gone through 12-hour sessions nonstop and I just can't stop playing it. You know, it's nothing like slaying dragons after a bad day at work. Batman, it's the same kind of game, but it's Batman in Arkham City and with all the villains. It's just awesome. The only reason why it was a number one is because honestly, I Skyrim just totally trumped it, and I couldn't stop playing Skyrim to play Arkham City again. Portal 2, that's an awesome puzzle game. If you played the original Portal, this is even better because it's co-op, had free DLC. It's just it's Portal. You use the Portal gun, you figure out the puzzles. It's a lot of fun. GLaDOS is awesome, and they use a unique power source for GLaDOS toward the end of the game as well. I'm not going to say what it is though. Halo Anniversary. I know it's just a rehash of the original Halo, but I loved it. They did an amazing job. The sound design is just incredible, and you got a lot for your money. And it's Halo in my book. It's just the Halo franchise is awesome. And Warhammer 40,000 is the Warhammer universe. 40K universe is just I love the mythos of it, and the story behind Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine is great. It may be a little vanilla to some people, but I think if you are a fan of the universe, this is definitely a game that is worth trying out. It just doesn't get old for me. And those are my top five.
What was your biggest upset?
Thank you. That's right. My biggest upset would have to be Duke Nukem. I bought that on release day, excited, and was totally disappointed. Not because of toilet humor, like the world has been complaining about, because Duke Nukem is all about toilet humor. It's because of technical issues. The game looked like it should have been released 13 years ago. Gearbox didn't do anything with this game as far as I'm concerned. They just ported it to make it work on the consoles and the modern day computers or whatever, and dumped it in a box. It was just a turd biscuit and just totally awful.
Brad, what about you?
For my top five, as y'all know, I'm a bit of a PC gamer versus the majority of our staff are Xbox 360 and PS3 users. My first favorite game of the year is The Witcher 2, mainly because it took everything that was bad about the first one, even though the first one was a fantastic game, and made it better. Easily my favorite game of the year. Second to that is Skyrim, for much the same reasons that Scrotus mentioned earlier. Expansive gameplay, tons of content for the money. I mean, over 100 hours of gameplay, so when you're talking a $60 price tag versus something like Modern Warfare that's got 5 hours of gameplay, the choice is obvious there. Again, mentioned Space Marine, one of my favorite games this year. It does not change anything in regards to, third-person shooters, but it is easily one of the most fun games I've played. Slaughtering hordes of orcs and Chaos Marines does not get old. The cutscenes are fun. The universe is engaging. It is everything I want a game to be, and that is entertaining. The next one, I have is Gears of War 3, one of my other favorite games of the year. Again, I'm sort of a sucker for story games, so Gears of War 3 was a big hit for me because I did enjoy the story. It was lengthy, it was fun, and it brought a lot of closure to the series. And then one that probably most people don't expect to be on my list is Zelda Twilight Princess. This is the first game I have played on my Wii since I bought it. I have probably played more hours on this game than my Nintendo Wii has seen since I bought it on any other game combined. Easily the best game on that system, and probably one of the best games to come out this year, if not the last 5. As for my biggest disappointment, and I know I'm going to incur a lot of wrath from a lot of people for this, and it sort of tied into the platform it's on as well, is Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 in itself, not a bad game, but the bugs, and primarily on the PC platform, Origin, ruined this game. So I guess you could say my disappointment is Origin. This game could have been so much more had it not utilized a terrible user interface that forced you to go through a website. I don't know what they were thinking when they deployed this. It's very buggy. It doesn't work half the time. It causes constant game crashes. You can't play it offline if you just want to do the single player. EA can easily ban you from your game, and you really have no say over it. I really felt this game should have been released as your standard application launch that you can pull out of like a task menu, or at least have sold it on multiple platforms that wouldn't have required you to use the Origin digital distribution platform. And I felt it could have been a lot more, and it got mired by all these things, and not to mention that it was rushed to release, and that is my disappointment this year. Jade, what were yours?
Let's see. To be perfectly honest with you, and I know a lot of people that listen to us don't like console. Me, I do. I play all of the consoles, with the exception of Wii, because I'm not a 12-year-old girl. But Forza Motorsports 4 for Xbox 360 exclusive was my absolute top favorite game. I have not put it down since I got it. I play it constantly. I love how they did the graphics. I love that they've increased the number of maps, the number of cars. The Auto Vista mode is absolutely insane. They've added a lot of player requested content, so I really enjoy it. A lot of muscle cars and whatnot. It really pulls me in. Secondly, I'm gonna have to say Dark Souls, another awesome game that came out toward the end of last year. I also play that on Xbox. It's great. I can't say much about it other than it may piss you off sometimes, but it is just absolutely amazing as far as how difficult it actually makes a game. It's very similar to The Witcher, which is my number 3. The little bit that I've actually gotten to play of it so far, PC-wise, since I built my new machine, the game is absolutely awesome. I don't understand why these people on forums and everywhere else are saying the combat is terrible. If you learn how to play a game and you learn how to play it right, the game is epic, and that is exactly what The Witcher is. And everything, graphically, storyline, plot, everything about the game that I have experienced thus far is absolutely amazing and spot on. I give major props to CD Projekt for that. Let's see. My number 4 would probably be Arkham City. Arkham City has been another amazing game that I've played. I've played it PC, not Xbox, and even on the PC, it is just absolutely unbeatable. Graphically, it's very intense. It's very dark. It's very much like the movies that have the latest set of movies that have come out, and it's very it draws you in. And I just, so far it hasn't been beaten for me as far as a beat 'em up game. I was really kind of weary until I tried it, and it's been great. And my last so far is Star Wars The Old Republic. Now the reason I mentioned this last is because it did come out December 20th officially So it didn't have that much playtime for last year. That being said, for when it came out, and even as short a time as it's been out, it's starting to make Blizzard weary about what they're doing with their titles. And since I've played it, I've had to try my hardest to take a hiatus from it. It's almost as addicting as anything else I've ever done in my life. So I have to give them major props. BioWare did a great job with the voice acting, with the storylines of each individual class. It's something to try if you haven't done it. My biggest upset is also it's not because of a bad game that came out, but it's because it was postponed, and that's Twisted Metal. It's yet to be seen what comes of it, but I'm really looking forward to David Jaffe and them putting out an awesome title. They're doing it totally on their own, so they're not having the restrictions of some major corporation telling them what they can and can't do with the game. So I'm looking forward to it, but I had it on pre-order for October this year, and whenever it didn't come out, it's killing me. But it comes out February of this year, and I hope for the best. And yep. Thanks.
All right, and last but not least, my top 5. Mine is very similar to your guys's, but there are a few at the end that I wasn't expecting me to pick, but so I was trying to narrow down this list last night. I couldn't pass them up, but number 1 would be Arkham City. I finished it within 48 hours or less. I completely, and that was doing side quests too. I just absolutely love the game. It was exactly what I wanted a Batman game to be. It's what I wanted Arkham Asylum to be. They transitioned it a little bit into, it felt a little bit like Assassin's Creed, but I absolutely love the Assassin's Creed series. So the story drove Batman to who he needed to be at his limits. So I absolutely love the game. Can't give it any more hype than it's already gotten. 2, Skyrim. Skyrim's fantastic. Put another 12 hours into it the other day. I can't stop crafting. I don't know what it is with MMOs or RPGs or anything, but you let me craft something, I will scour an entire map just to find something that I need to craft something. I know it sounds ridiculous, but number 3 is Skyward Sword, along with Soundman. We almost played it together at the same time, talking over Xbox Live, but it was a great way to celebrate Zelda's 25th anniversary and a great swan song for the Wii. It was just absolutely fantastic. The combat I had a little issues with, but I think it's more of the limitations of the console rather than the game itself. Number 4 was Mortal Kombat. I was a big arcade junkie. I loved the Mortal Kombat series. In the past couple years, especially in the last generation, it really wasn't that great. And then they took everything back to the drawing board, made it a 2D fighter again, and I absolutely love that game. I'm still saying that the death of my one controller is from that, and that's what I'm sticking to. And number 5 is Super Mario 3D Land. This is finally a game to pick your 3DS back up with, dust it off. It is Mario Galaxy Light. I'm not saying that in a bad way. Super Mario Galaxy is a fantastic reason to pick up a Wii. The Galaxy and Galaxy 2. This is the same reason for the 3DS. It is just great 3D Mario platforming. It is tons of fun. There's tons of levels to do. The 3D on it doesn't make you want to hurl in your shoes. They finally, with this and Mario Kart 7, Nintendo finally found this trick to doing the 3D that's not making you sick or making your eyes strain. It works. My biggest disappointment, though, of the year is kind of a weird one, but it's the industry itself. Yes, I love video games. I write and do things for the site, but at the same time, I just feel like there's no creativity anymore. There's no, at least last generation, we had stuff like Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper. I mean, the Halo series came out last generation. There was just so much that would not or there was just so much that came out of last generation. It just feels like there's nothing anymore to give, which I know there is, but it just another year gone by, and we don't have Mass Effect, Assassin's Creed, Gears of War, The Witcher. I know there's stuff this generation that's good and it's out there, but there just feels like there's nothing creative. It's just everything's an FPS, everything's a modern day shooter, and it just is driving me insane. I'm kind of tired of FPSs. I know the platformer's kind of dead, but I kind of want that back. I want something creative and just fun. Video games are supposed to be fun, and I just feel like I'm wanting to break my controller in half more or less half the time. But
I think I would like to add to that. I'll add in some honorable mentions in that as well. You mentioned a lack of creativity, and I see that a lot, especially with a lot of the big name companies, because they are there as they are publicly traded to make a profit, and they do just that. Modern Warfare is a prime example of a company who excels as that, or Activision, who makes that game, is a prime example of a company that does that very well. They release constant DLC, they push their profits higher and higher, and they have a massive following, and creativity does not bring in profits half the time. Re-releasing the same thing does. And I've noticed that for me, and this is going to go into a couple of my honorable mentions this year of games that I think stood out but aren't really going to get the limelight as much as your Battlefield 3s and your Modern Warfare 3s and and etc. The first one I want to mention, which is more of an indie game, is Mount and Blade. The original game was not released this year, but one of the expansions was, or last year, and one of the expansions was, and it is easily one of the most unique and entertaining games I have ever played. Think of Rome Total War in a first-person setting, and it is really that epic. You can charge castles, you can conquer lands, you can hire, mercenaries, you can, get married, you can, whatever you want to play. You can probably do it within that game. And there's a lot of politics you have to deal with, and there's RPG elements. You can, sort of hash out your character the way you want to play it. The other honorable mention I wanted to hit was Deus Ex. I did not put it in my top 5, but it was easily one of the better games this year. I didn't feel that the game was a sellout. It focused on what it was supposed to be good at, and that was sort of a stealth shooter. Story driven. It had a lot of content. It didn't feel like it was pushed out to, cater to the masses. It was to cater to those who enjoy a quality gaming experience. And so those were my honorable mentions. I don't know if any of you guys had any extras you thought should be mentioned this year as games that should be tried.
Alright, yeah, I have a couple. One I just actually picked up today, which I wanted to pick up at release, but just with the holidays, the rush of everything. Rayman Origins is just from the demo. I would have thrown my paycheck at Ubisoft and Michel Ancel and said, I don't care, take it all. I want this game. It's just thinking of me with the disappointments, being it less creative. This is something that came out almost around the same time as Modern Warfare and Battlefield 3. That it's all hand drawn. It looks fantastic. It has this kind of quirky Ren and Stimpy humor to it. The music is so catchy. It just puts, from the demo, I could sit there and play it for hours, and it just puts a smile on my face. I've always loved Michel Ancel's games from the original Raymans, Beyond Good and Evil. But yes, this is something. If you're looking, GameStop has it now for $30. Please go pick it up. Even just play the demo. It would make me happy if more people would at least try it. It's fantastic. Another one I know people were kind of iffy on. If you can find it at a good price, Rage is not bad, at least from a technical standpoint, to pick it up. Even on the 360, which I have it on, I installed it completely on the 360, all 3 discs. But I didn't finish it yet, but from what I played, I really did enjoy it. Maybe that's just because it was a racer/shooter. I liked watching things blow up. but I really, really did like that. And I did a review for it over the summer. Bastion, if you have, it was on sale on Xbox Live 2 weeks ago. If you ever have the chance to pick it up, please pick it up. It was fantastic. It was the narrator was narrating everything as you went through the game. I didn't. It was under my when I was looking to do the stuff for the Summer of Arcade. It was actually the most for me under my radar the most, and it ended up being my favorite out of the 5 games that came out. Just an absolute fantastic game. I downloaded the soundtrack. I've actually paid for the soundtrack. It's a great game.
I gotta say some honorable mentions as well. There's a couple. Dead Space 2. It was really close to being in my top 5. Just a continuation of a great franchise. The game is it's dark and foreboding. It's very reminiscent of the Resident Evil horror genre, but nothing like Resident Evil. It just portrays the horror element really well. And to be completely different from a dark game like that, I gotta be with Rick. Rayman Origins. This is the first game that I played that I actually smiled the entire time. I wasn't frustrated and ready to punch something like a lot of games do, just because of technical issues or whatnot. But yeah, Rayman Origins. Just the demo, like Cab, was just fun. There's no other way to describe it. Just a good time. And Torchlight. Torchlight was an awesome game. I got it for the Xbox. It was a great time. I played through it several times. The fact that it generates dungeons on the fly, that you just can't go wrong with that, because it's a new game every time you play it. Just a lot of fun.
And if I were to have any honorable mentions, I'd probably go with something along the lines of like Crysis 2. They re-upped the Cry engine. They showed what it's really capable of, which I thought was really cool. They really need to work on their AI still, but other than that, Crysis 2 was it's absolutely a gorgeous game. If you ever get the chance to see it on fully unlocked, all out, just completely graphically unhindered, it's awe-inspiring is the best way I can describe it. Resistance 3 was a good game. It continued with the storyline of the other two somewhat, although you play as a person that leads a group across the nation. It has the same similar play style, but it follows the same storyline, so you don't feel like you're completely lost, which is great. And I think my last honorable mention would probably be Alice Madness Returns. The way that they pulled this together to make it just as dark and twisted as the first one, American McGee's. This title was absolutely awesome. All puzzle based. It was just great all around.
All right, one last one I want to mention that I forgot to leave off my list. It came out early in the year. It was branded with a beta, so that's what got most of the attention. But Bulletstorm, I really enjoyed. It was stupid. It was fun. It was brash. There was, a lot of toilet humor, but it was fun. I had an absolute blast with it, and it's something that kind of got lost in the mix. It had the Gears beta. I know a lot of my friends bought it specifically for that. They played it a little bit, and once the Gears beta came out, it kind of hit the shelf or, got exchanged. But that, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me, but I didn't mind Dragon Age 2. But no, people are probably going to hate me, but I did not mind it. Okay, does anyone have anything else?
I can't believe you like Dragon Age 2. That's just terrible.
It wasn't okay. I hated the dungeons. The dungeons repeated. I didn't mind. I kind of liked the combat, so I didn't mind it. Other than everything repeated, you were stuck in one city, but I didn't mind it.
I couldn't
I could
stand
say
the
the same
combat
for
on the PC
Homefront.
version.
Say
yeah,
the
if
same for
Homefront was
Homefront.
like,
It needs to be longer. It was Call of Duty short, but the game, the storyline, the campaign mode was freaking awesome. They need to make more games like this to bring the awareness around.
oh yeah, Homefront I totally agree with. If it had about 4 more hours in it, it would have been a really, really close to the top 10 for me.
Sadly, I think that's something that's lost on a lot of, especially I say that's another disappointment of 2011 is single player campaigns. They are quickly becoming a lost art. And, Homefront had a good campaign, but it followed the same folly that many developers are, doing these days. And that's just skimping on the campaign and throwing in some multiplayer and hoping that people just play the multiplayer. I mean, for those of us that prefer the single-player campaign, such as myself, it's really disappointing when you have to drop $60 on a title and you get 4 hours of entertainment out of it.
Yeah, speaking about dropping $60 on something, I bought Brink. I bought it. Yeah, speaking of, it barely had a single-player campaign, if you could even call it that. And then multiplayer was riddled with bugs, so it was just easier to play offline with the bots. It just, yeah, that's check that under disappointments. But it goes quite well with what you're saying about the Call of Duties, the Modern Warfares, even Battlefield, the campaign. It just tack it on, just tack it on.
FPS altogether seems like it's falling apart. Not sure what they can do to fix it, but something needs to be done, and I think it's us as the consumers that have the power and tell these people, look, you need to fix this.
That's the problem. As long as people keep dumping boatloads of cash into it, they're not going to fix anything. They'll throw some new window dressing on it and repackage it and pump it out every year.
Hence why I've quit buying anything from Activision. Anyone that is a serious gamer should probably do the same.
Although I will be buying Fall of Cybertron this year, though. As much as I hate to, I don't want to say buy things from Activision, but I don't know. High Moon Studios, I really like what they did with the Bourne license with the one game they had with it, and War for Cybertron was one of my favorite games of 2010, so I'm going to throw money at that. But yeah, other than that, I would stay away.
Yeah, War for Cybertron though it basically had 2 campaigns as opposed to like Modern Warfare. I mean, you had Autobots and Decepticons in it, so it was well worth it. And then if the multiplayer wasn't so damn buggy, it would have been a lot of fun as well. It was a nice spin on the FPS shooter, but yeah, the campaign alone was well worth the price, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm getting tired of the brown modern shooter. I think that's my biggest issue with that. I want something like BioShock. I know BioShock Infinite's coming out this year, but I would kind of want something like that. I want something to, I don't know, reimagine the shooter, make it colorful, put it in a different setting, do something different.
Oh, something I'd like to mention, and this is outside of the gaming genre. For any of you who enjoy the Transformers series, there is a new Transformers series out called Transformers Prime. Now, most of you are probably thinking this is going to be another one that trashes on their beloved Transformers from the mid-'80s, and yes, I know everyone will love that one forever, and it'll forever be the best. However, I like this one more. I think it is dark, I think it's violent, I think it's enjoyable, I think the story writing is fantastic. It is easily the most engaging Transformers series I have ever watched. I watched all the episodes straight through, all 26 that were out for the season. The new season 2 starts in February. It is a 3D Transformers show. It's almost, it got to feel like Appleseed for those of you who've seen that. But it's got all the voice acting from the movies plus some additionals. It's a very high quality show. The production values are through the roof. I've already pre-ordered the Blu-ray box set for the first season. For anyone who has enjoyed the Transformers universe, this is better than the movies, in my opinion. It's much more well written. It's not a Bay Fest, but at the same time, there's tons of action. I know Cab has watched it, and you might have a couple things to say about it as well.
Yes, it is absolutely fantastic. And from loving Beast Wars, the 80s Transformers, yeah, it is great. It seems it's what Beast Wars should have been, minus Beast Wars just at the time the technical limitations that they had. But yes, it's more mature. There's not all focus on, Megan Fox's butt and everything. It gets what Transformers is about. It's the war between the Autobots and the Decepticons. There's a little human interaction here and there, but it mainly focuses on the Transformers, and it's one thing the movies always disappointed me with. But yes, I do agree. Watch this. They did a mini series with that was 5 episodes. They kind of sewn together. It's $12 anywhere. I bought it, picked up, absolutely loved it. So yes, definitely looking forward to finishing out season 1 and watching season 2.
Now I want to watch it.
It's worth your time. It's really good, and it has Frank Welker back as Megatron and Peter Cullen still Optimus. Because if they had anybody else doing Optimus, it wouldn't be Transformers. And on that note, thank you everyone for listening for this week. Giving you guys our top picks for the 2011, and we'll be doing this again next year for 2012. Hopefully, it gives us as many gems as this year's given us. Thank you guys for listening.